All right, welcome back. Mustapha Wahab is joining me right now, an investment analyst, oil and gas at the Chapel Hill Denham. Hello, Mustapha. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Nancy. Always good to be with you.
Nice to have you come by, especially a day before Easter. Mustapha, let me start from there. I don't even know what to ask you now. If how you're seeing these food prices, I don't know if after work today you go to the market, or perhaps you've sent some of your family members to the market already. Speak to me about that, because it's all eating deep into our pockets that already have holes in it.
So thank you, Nancy. I think analysts like us, what we typically do is to front load our demands. And we typically know that, periods like before Easter, it tends to coincide with the period where, food prices skyrocket significantly. Beyond Easter, you think about, end of November, early December. Those are the period where you need to quickly stock up. That's why, today, compared to the last few years, electricity is a lot better in Nigeria. So if you can front load your demand, stock up your foodstuff into the deep freezer, and then when, the eventual celebration comes, start to bring them out gradually and start making, merry foods. But if you tend to wait towards this last period, I think that significant inflationary impact would hit hardly into your purchasing power, and then what you're thinking that you'd buy, they might not necessarily be what you get at the end of the day, right? We're now in an environment beyond festive period. We're also in an environment where we are facing significant electricity price hike. PMS price is also there. Structural challenges are also there, and this period, as far as inflation is concerned, is not harvest period. So there's a lot of structural issues that is currently affecting food prices. So if you've known that, you've already seen that, before May, you've seen that before April, you've seen that around February, March, and then it does basically make sense for you to quickly front load your food stuff before the impact of festive period price hike start hitting on inflationary pressure.
Mustapha, I go disagree with you, and let me speak it in pidgin. Seriously, I'm going to disagree with you this morning. People like you can front load, but the majority of Nigerians live on less than $1.96 a day. So not many people can front load, because many Nigerians earn less than 1,000 naira a day. So people like you can front load. I don't know if I also fall into that position, but perhaps I fall into that position in terms of that's why you have data. But not many Nigerians can fall into that position of front loading. You see the whole market. We just did a live market survey and see what we saw this morning. So I don't agree with you for that one.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you said. That's why I said at the start, I said analysts like us, right? So it makes sense for us to quickly.
But not be people like you. Listen, how many people like you are in Nigeria?
No, Nancy, you're the money bag of the country. So I'm just saying that for a small boy like me, usually I typically look forward to see what is going on, and then tend to make my purchasing budget from that angle, right? I know a lot of people that typically ask me this question. For instance, I have a car seller friend that would ask me, Wahab, should I buy my cars now or just wait until Naira comes back? Now, until Naira appreciates again, I'll tell him, Oga, if you want to make any significant margin, if you have the opportunity to do so, just quickly start buying your thing, because as far as we are concerned now, we have not seen anything, to be honest. Things are going to be worse from this angle.
I don't know. I really don't know, because I spoke to a guest yesterday also, Dr. Ikechi, and he did mention that he told people even in 2020 that 2021 will not be a friendly year, and just with what you said, things are still going to get worse. So yeah, if you say you want to sit by and wait for things to improve, especially with the kind of history and experience we have in the country, when things go up, they know they calm down. I don't know why I've
at all.
entered the pigeon spirit today. Perhaps there's a purpose for that, for people to understand. You know, we're talking numbers so that they can understand some of these things we're talking about. Now, another thing that links to all of this is fuel, petrol prices that affects transport. Wahab, I don't know. Okay, I can see that my team has queued in the video. The interview I had with GMD Kiari of the NNPC some time ago, where he broke on the show that Nancy, there'll be no subsidy forever. Wahab, let's play that. I can see it's on the queue. Let's play that and quickly bring you back.
Okay, no
And
problem.
what is the subsidy, like you call it, under recovery, still doing there? Are you giving the president advice on that? That is gulping a lot of trillions of naira for subsidy. Who is the subsidy favoring at this time?
There is no subsidy, is zero. There's no subsidy.
So what is
Market
under
will take care.
recovery?
Zero. Both of them are zero today.
So how is it working?
It's zero forever, Nancy.
Wahab, you saw that. What do you have to say? We're back to it.
I mean, absolutely. I think we're back, right? The way I see petrol in Nigeria is that it can be linking to prices of basic food items, you know, that basically caused that uprising that we saw in some Northern African countries some years back, right? You know, petrol price in Nigeria is regulated by FGN because, you know, the political class basically fears that, you know, increase in prices of petrol, you know, which will correspond to, you know, significant pressure on cost of living, can cause, you know, a point for uprise in Nigeria as well. I think we saw a flash of that in 2012, and I suspect that's why subsidy in Nigeria is probably not going to go away, right? I mean, you know the number, Nancy, you've seen it. Inflation is over 17% today. Unemployment is at 33%, you know. So, you know, that there's a lot of structural issues that would make FGN to continue to, you know, remain largely apprehensive towards removing subsidy entirely in the country. And, you know, I used to tell people that, you know, the reason why we pay higher price in Nigeria is not strictly on crude oil price alone. The impact of Naira devaluation is also very significant as far as pump price is concerned, right? And if we're not able to solve that FX issue, we might continue to see significant upward movement as far as pump price is concerned, right, in Nigeria. So it's probably not going to go. It's not going to go away. If we want to be sure that subsidy is going to be gone in Nigeria, then we would have to start talking about, you know, implementing some sort of parliamentary act that will make it illegal, you know, for any government of the day to bring back subsidies, right? I mean, I've already done the calculation. Once crude oil price cross that $50 per barrel levels, I've already seen that pump price should be selling way above what we're currently, you know, selling. So, I mean, the idea that under recovery is zero, you know, especially in the month of March, is not completely true. It's not completely true. So I suspect that, I mean, yes, we don't have the capacity to continue to pay for under recovery or subsidy or whatever the proper nomenclature is, but I think that it is very unlikely that subsidy will go away in Nigeria.
Mustapha, the subsidy payment we are seeing right now, is it different from the subsidy payments of yesteryears in the sense that, especially during when the former Minister of Finance, who is now the WTA DG, Okonjo-Iweala, and Sanusi Lamido, I remember that time they were going across the country. I even had interviews with them then, going across the country to sensitize Nigerians why we should remove, or we had removed subsidy then. But the subsidy we pay now, is it different from the one we used to pay? Because you remember that we had what they call briefcase importers. You remember even the saga with Femi Otedola then, I think, is the chairman or founder of Xenon Oil. So that raised, I'm going back history now, you know, so is it different? What we're seeing right now, is it different from what we saw before?
Yeah, I mean, it's completely different. And I hope I'm able to explain this thing clearly, right? It was Dr. Ibe Kachuku that actually solved that problem. Prior to the tenure of Dr. Ibe, what we typically had then was OMCs will present their import documents to NMPC. So NMPC from there would pay the difference, between the actual price and then the pump price. That's how they fund subsidy back then. And it was in 2016 that issue actually erupted. I think that period, FGN actually budgeted around 240 billion to be used to pay subsidy that period. And at the end of the day, FGN actually spent close to more than 2 trillion on subsidy. I think that was what arose the interest of the House back then that, we need to investigate this because corruption back then in subsidy was quite enormous. It was enormous such that people would not even import anything and then they would be claiming subsidy and FGN would pay, right? I think that's one of the key reasons why, the then administration of President Goodluck Jonathan thought that, we should actually end this scheme because it's enriching some sect of the country. Right. So what Ibekachukwu now did was to, instead of subsidy, now change it to what we call direct sales, direct purchase. So OMCs were stopped from importing PMS products into the country. So the responsibility now lie with the NMPC. What NMPC would now do is they would exchange crude for petroleum products from whatever countries that they are doing business with. And so once NMPC brings the product into the country, they will now supply, from their own tank to oil marketers, right? So I think the impact of that was what basically sort of tried to essentially curb that subsidy corruption. But the key problem with that is that, after having solved that subsidy corruption problem, subsidy also that also created a new breed of problem. Right. Petrol price is one of the products that is listed on the Price Control Act of 1977. So the act basically provides strict penalty for anyone that sell a PMS above the regulated price. So I think that no oil marketer would find it business sensible for them to import products into the country where pricing does not make any material sense, right? So that's why FGN is paying the difference. Now, the key problem with that is that subsidy payments actually create what we call, petrol price arbitrage in Nigeria. What that then means is that, regulated cheaper price in Nigeria is a lot cheaper. It creates some sort of incentive for marketers to start pushing petroleum products into neighboring, West African countries, such as Benin and Ghana and Cameroon. Sorry, in Cameroon, I think fuel price in Cameroon is over 3.5 times more expensive than that from Nigeria, right? In Benin, it's about 2.5 times more expensive. That's why, for a small population size across the border, they have, combined fuel capacity of over 145 million liters, which does not make any sense for the size of that, population. Then basically means that FGN will subsidize PMS products, and then these PMS products will get to oil marketers, and then some oil marketers will now push those products to those neighboring countries just so they earn illegal margins, right? So I think if FGN would have to start to talk about how they would solve that issue of porous border in Nigeria, where those sort of products will not able to leave the country. So that way, I think one way or the other, they will find a way to reduce under recovery significantly if that problem is solved.
Mustapha, do you really think that the government, in all sincerity, can really take its hands off this market? Because especially from what you said, what the government did, all for swap agreement, or what do they call it? All for products,
Yes.
swap agreement, where the NNPC, they give crude and they import petrol. Do you think that monkey fit comot in hand for this soup? Because it's been so long. It's been so long. This is 2021. We started having, just go ahead. Because if we talk about this fuel issue, there's a long history of it.
Yeah. I think it's possible, but then the implication is, can Nigerians pay a cost-reflective fuel price? I think the answer is probably not, right? But the truth is that even neighboring West African countries are paying a lot more for fuel products than Nigeria. And to answer your question, whether or not Nigerian government can remove their hand from the downstream sector, I think two key things will solve that problem. Dangote refinery that will come on stream in 2022, and then that passage of PIB would be the key game changer in that regard. I mean, I don't know. I'm already hearing some sort of feelers that FGN would make some sort of arrangement with Dangote refinery such that they sell crude to the refinery in naira, right? And then Dangote would supply finished product to the government, which would eventually find its way to the citizen, right? I don't know how that framework would work yet, right? What I know for sure is that Dangote would never sell its petroleum product at a ridiculously low price compared to what you would see, from other, competitive markets, right? That's what I know for sure. So if that's the case, then it then means that it becomes imperative for FGN to now pass that PIB, where marketers are now allowed to import petroleum products from wherever they deem fit, and then charge whatever price they are comfortable with, and then that would then tend to start. You then start to see some sort of significant margin improvement as far as the downstream sector is concerned. I think over the last 4 years, no one has really paid significant attention to investing in the downstream sector because of this massive wave of regulation that is going on in that regard. So
and we see investment going to other African countries that are not as even big as we are and that do not have crude.
Exactly.
Just in 1 minute, even as we close, you've said that you don't think if subsidy would go away anytime soon, perhaps because of the political nature of it. So it's more of the political willingness than the economic sense that it makes.
Exactly.
I want you to comment quickly on the $1.5 billion refineries rehabilitation. Or is it? I think it's rehabilitation they called it, because I think there's a difference between rehabilitation and turnaround.
Yeah.
So speak to me about that very quickly. And do you think that we really consume 72.7 million liters of fuel in this country? Because years ago I had about 35 million liters. So have we really grown so astronomical?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we consume that much. By the time you remove the impact of PMS product that found its way to neighboring West African countries, then you will see the actual amount of PMS product that we consume in Nigeria. I think we did an exercise in Chapel Hill recently. Currently, they say NMBS released the data that we consume 17 billion liters of PMS product in Nigeria. What we think in Chapel Hill is that we only consume roughly 60% of that. 40% basically are smuggled out of the country, right? So just basically to mention Port Harcourt refinery, it's possible for them to bring back that refinery to life. It's very possible. But the key question a lot of investors and analysts and market are asking is that what is the investment case of investing that much money in refinery? When there are other competing, projects that have stronger investment case, right? I mean, why not? We're now in a global world where a lot of countries are talking about banning any fossil fuel powered cars, right? Why are we still talking about rehabilitating refinery in Nigeria? I think in Norway, they said in 2025, if you recall, Nancy, Norway is one of those countries that rely heavily on exploitation of crude oil, as with Nigeria. So they said by 2025, they want to ban any internal combustion engine in the country. Beyond Norway, 9 other countries are also saying that they want to discontinue any fossil fuel powered car. Everybody is now talking about electric cars, right? So the key question is, if you bring this refinery back to life, for how long, are we going to, continue to, emit green gas, into the society? How long are we going to start talking about cleaner and greener, energy in Nigeria? So I think that's where the key concern is.
I want to say thank you very much, Mustapha, for coming on the program today. I wish you a cool public holiday, because I know you will not be at work tomorrow, definitely. Are you guys still working from home?
No. So we're rotating in Chapel Hill now. Also, we're gradually resuming the office. So some of my colleagues are in the office at the moment.
Okay. Thank you, Wahab, for speaking with me.
You're welcome, ma'am.
All right, that's the much we can take. So thank you all for watching today. And this week, Easter holiday begins tomorrow. Good Friday, public holiday tomorrow. And on Monday, Easter Monday, take this time to be with your family. I will definitely be resting because you wouldn't be seeing my face here tomorrow, Friday, and on Monday. We'll get to see you again on Tuesday. That's after Easter Monday. Thank you all from me and my team. Have a wonderful Easter. I am Nancy Naji. Thank you for watching our video. Please hit the subscribe button below, turn on post notification to follow all our updates.